So this morning we are going to do some tow trucking in Christmas Valley, Oregon. And I know I got a whole line of tow trucks here, and we are taking none of them. Now we're going to get a Jeep, we're going to tow it back to Bend, so you'd think this would be a perfect job for the new wrecker here, except for I don't have dollies for this truck yet. I'm getting some Collins dollies for it, but they're not here yet. And you have to dolly a Jeep, so we're not going to take this one. And yes, the correct way to tow a Jeep is with dollies. Just picking it up from the back and letting the front end roll is not the correct, proper way to do it. Will I do it with my own stuff? Yeah. Will I do it with a customer's vehicle? No. So then I thought, well, I'll just take the rollback. That'd make it nice and easy. Then I started thinking, you know, the rollback is just a little bit of overkill for a Jeep, so we're not going to take that one either. And we could take the Beast in the low bed. That'd be fun, but again, overkill. And hey, some people have suggested changing the name of the Beast to Clifford, the big red truck. Which, yeah, that fits too, but when you drive that thing, it is a freaking beast, which is why it's called the Beast. Either way, we're taking my fancy new deck over trailer in the pickup, which is going to be the best ride anyway, since we've got like 30 something miles of dirt road to go down to get to where we're going. So let's get moving and see what we run into. Bug in here. Mosquito. I have not seen a mosquito. Got him. See, it's on my window now. I have not seen a mosquito out here. I think since we've lived here. It's so dry out here and there's no water anywhere because, you know, it's the middle of the desert. There's one really nice thing is we don't have bugs. We got some gnarly spiders, I will say that. I guess that's a bug, kind of. But we don't have mosquitoes. We don't have hardly ever a fly, anything like that. So that is a nice thing about here. Either way, you're probably thinking, a place called Christmas Valley? It must be a magical place full of green Christmas trees and decorations all year and Santa's on every corner. No, that it's kind of like the whole Greenland, Iceland thing, where I'm pretty sure they named it that to like fool someone at some point, because it's a town in the middle of the desert in the middle of nowhere, and it does not look like Christmas year round. Although they should think about that, because that'd be pretty cool. To get there from my house, it's like 35 miles of dirt road. We could go down the highway the whole way, but the fastest way to get there from my house, since I live out in the desert, is to go out and down the highway a little ways and then away from town, and then hop off on a dirt road that goes out to the desert and connects the two. So we've got a lot of dirt road driving to do today, and then once we pick this thing up, we are going to go the highway way all the way back to Bend. That way I'm not completely dusting out the customer's vehicle on the trailer behind my pickup all the way back. Plus I think to get to Bend, the faster way is the highway. Either way, we're going for a drive. You gotta love farm fields on a cool morning. It is 22 degrees outside right now. And we're driving east, so the sun is going to be right in our face. Speaking of sun in our face, though, trying out a new camera today. It's actually a camera I've had for a while. I just haven't hardly ever used it. So you'll have to watch and see and listen and hear how it goes. It's got a cool microphone on it that can change the direction it picks up audio from, so that hopefully that helps, obviously, with the audio. We'll see. Well, you'll hear and see. Yeah. So we went out across the Milliken Plateau, and now we're dropping down into the Milliken Valley. Just imagine everything you see out here being one giant lake. So way back in the yesterdays, this looked a lot kind of like it does now. And, well, probably a little grassier and greener, because that's how it used to be, more kind of prairie than desert back in like the historical days. Except for that ridge of mountains way over there at the very end. Look at my shadow, I look really tall. Either way, that ridge of mountains at the very end was not there. So the snow melt, the water, all the stuff that used to flow through here continued to flow all the way on through into the Bend area, Central Oregon, what's now Deschutes River, and off it went from there. But off that way is a giant volcano called Mount Mazama. And eventually, due to the brothers' fault out here, it pushed a ridge up out there that today is known as Horse Ridge. Now that ridge acted like a dam and dammed off all the water flow that used to go out of this valley. There's some cows over there. and it flooded this whole area, turned into a massive lake that was 18 square miles. So basically, hold on, get up here. Everything you see all the way around here, including them cows, was underwater. Until one day it finally topped over the edge of Horse Ridge there and started cutting through it. And if you go to the top of Horse Ridge now on Highway 20 here, you'll see a massive canyon cut through the lava rock off to the north side of it. And that is where the water carved through, cut a slice through it, drained this whole 18 square mile lake in one shot and flooded that whole Bend, Central Oregon, Deschutes River area in what had to have been just a crazy catastrophic amount of water coming through. It just wiped out everything in its path. And what I have heard, could be wrong because geology does a lot of cool stuff over the years, but what I have heard is a lot of the deep cuts and canyons and lava ridges and stuff in the Central Oregon area are from that big single catastrophic flood that happened who knows how many centuries ago, probably thousands of years ago. Either way, then in the 1880s, I believe, a guy named George Milliken and his wife moved to the area, set up a ranch, founded as the town. Now it's called Milliken. This is where we turn off the highway and we hit like 35 miles of dirt road. This is Fredericks Butte Road, and this connects Highway 20 to Christmas Valley on the other end of this whole openness here. Okay, first of many cattle guards. I used to come across this road like once or twice a week, and some of the cattle guards were 60-mile-an-hour cattle guards and some were 6-mile-an-hour cattle guards. And back then I knew which was which, and I could blast across the ones I could blast across and slow down for the ones I need to slow down for. But beginning of the season, don't know where the potholes and stuff are, and I hadn't been out here in quite a while, so we will slow down for all of them. The good thing about it being dusty is you can see traffic coming like a mile up ahead of you. So you've seen the dust cloud first and then just seen the vehicle pop up over the ridge right there. So plenty of time for both of us to slow down. This looks like a bumpy cattle guard. Yep. Also nice that the wind is drifting to the east, so their dust goes away from me and not across, but I have to sit through the whole way. Just want to stop and show you, and I want to get out and stretch my legs. Even though this looks like dry desert, you don't dare get off into that until much later in the year. So if you see here, it's just all standing water out there, or just below the surface. It might look like a good crust that's dry somewhere out there. You go in that, you're gonna sink. And here it's all just pulled up sitting. And also you could see, soft, but you could see it's cold out here. Look at this. Don't get off the main road. We are definitely going to get out of this guy's way. Hay train coming through. He's making a lot of dust and so am I, so I'll just stop so that he can see clear. That's a lot of alfalfa. Oh, there's another one coming. See, if I would have blasted through his dust and got away from the edge so I couldn't see it real well, I'd have been coming in facing this guy head on. So we'll wait till all of that clears and we can see down the road again before we move. So Christmas Valley is world renowned for the highest quality alfalfa hay, I believe, in the world is what it's known for. There's some weird thing about the soil and the water out here, or out there, we're only like halfway. It looks like the middle of the desert, just like this. And there's just the greenest, most lush alfalfa hay fields out in the middle of it, in the middle of nothing like this, that produce some of the finest, highest quality alfalfa in the world. My buddy Jesse Bounds with the hay company and all the orange trucks, he actually buys a lot of the alfalfa from Christmas Valley here, takes it to his hay press, presses it down super small and compact, puts it in containers, and that stuff will go to like Dubai and Qatar, and it goes to feed, whoa, I've never seen that lake that big. It goes to feed those like multi-million, way more expensive than millions of dollar race and show horses they have over there. Wow, we have a look at that. Either way, yeah, those people pay a lot of money to get Christmas Valley alfalfa. So back early on in this channel, back in the olden days when like 5 people watched these videos, so you know, like last month, I actually hiked out here in a video and walked through all this and checked some stuff out, and it did not look like this. I was actually walking out in the middle of that out there. We're out in the middle of a dry lake bed. You can see my truck is parked way over there because I'm not. And actually over in that little juniper tree line in the bottom there, there's like some campsites and shelter sites that looked like much older Native American, early settler type of thing, and all that's flooded right now, it looks like. Yeah, you'd have some shelter in here from the wind and set up a hammock from there to there, or just a little tarp shelter in this protected area here. Yeah, that'll do. And when you get up in the morning, your view could be this. What most of this is not that deep. That's probably all of about 3 feet deep out there, but you see those 2 humps out there. There's one there and there's one over there. Those are man-made much later for water for cattle and wildlife out here. They dig down a section and just pile it all up next to it and dig a deep hole where water sits and stands to be a water hole out here in the desert. But this is out in the middle. Let me get up here so I can show you. Out in the middle of this dry lake bed, this berm here and that berm there is where they dug out to create a water hole here. So the water table is just below the surface, which is why you wouldn't want to drive anything heavy out there. But they dug it out to make a water hole. It's going to be the same thing there at that last one we're at. There's a berm on each side where they took a dozer and dug it out to make a water hole for the animals. So this is only 2-3 feet deep. You could probably walk out in all that. I mean, it's probably really muddy, you sink, but you would out over there and out over there, you'd hit a hole that you would just go like 15 feet down in. Just kind of sketchy. But yeah, there's like an old shelter out there. A lot of this land out here was, there's a lot of, let's probably straight to the sun, Native American sites and early settler sites, some old homesteads out here. Some very, very cool stuff out in this area to explore and check out. But I have never seen that much water out here. That's very cool. Okay, now we gotta hike back to the truck. See? Green fields in the middle of the desert. Very strange. Here's a super old homestead and windmill and old ranch house. Outhouse in the back. Out on the driveway now, heading into this place, and a coyote just ran across in front of me. He's right out here in this sagebrush somewhere. Pretty good size one too. He should be, well, there's the trail that he just ran across on, so he's out there somewhere. You guys might recognize this road. It's been in one of my previous videos. It's just a lot darker when we were here last, and the truck we were in was a lot bigger. What happened to this one?
I had pulled into the store and went to put it in park, and the thing came on and says, you know, not in park, service transmission. And then there's a light flashing. Oh shit, I gotta disconnect the battery too, otherwise the battery will go dead.
Oh, yeah, once it's up there, I'll do it.
And, it's like, so I was able to get it.
A bunch of electrical problems.
Well, I'm sure that's what it is. Oh, something simple.
Probably.
I don't know anything about this computer crap. So.
And off we go. We're gonna get back out of here onto the paved road, head to the gas station to get some fuel because I really need that. And then we're gonna take the highway all the way back to town. That coyote just crossed again. There must be something, or he's over here eating gophers or something out this way, and then he's running back into the sagebrush when cars come by, because he just right across that same spot. Either that, he's got a carcass over here he's munching on. Yeah, he's right here somewhere. He must wait for people to leave, and then he runs back over and gets back. See some bones over there, but they look older. Yeah, there's this trail. So he must go out in that field and go after whatever's over there. And this is where he hides out. Yeah, see what I mean? Dry, barren desert land, and then just green fields in the middle of it. Whoever like came out here originally, way back in the day, saw this and thought that they could turn it into that. I don't know if they're crazy, a visionary, just extra smart, or what, but that is not what I would have thought was possible when I came out on horseback in a wagon looking at this. So the very first tow I ever did with my rollback when I got it years ago was out of this yard right here. One of Jesse Bound's trucks was actually driving down this road and hit a part of an irrigation pump that fell out of the back of another truck. Got a hawk right there. Knocked a hole in the oil pan, a bunch of stuff, and they limped it into this yard. And Jesse actually called me while I was in Indiana buying that truck. And then they parked it behind the hay barn right there and left it there until I got back from Indiana, got the truck registered, and then I came over here with it and hooked onto his truck and towed it to Junction City. That was my very first tow with the rollback, was out of that yard there. So we made it to town, got some fuel, which I desperately needed. I got a 30-gallon tank, I put 25 in it. Everything's sitting good on there, so we're gonna run inside, grab some lunch, and then hit the highway back towards Bend. That over there is Fort Rock, and then just back behind us is the Fort Rock Ghost Town set up. Definitely worth coming and checking out. Also up over here, off a little ways, is a hole in the ground. So it's worth a day trip down here. Check out Hole in the Ground, Fort Rock, the Ghost Town. Some cool stuff to see. And just like that, we are back in the forest. We have made it. Let's go get this thing checked in and see where they want us to drop it off. Okay, we got it untied. Got the deck tilted. So now we gotta see if we can get it to go back into neutral or transfer case at least and get it into that spot. Okay. Oh, the battery's still unhooked, so we'll just go with transfer case neutral and winch out. So this thing, apparently it'll start, but when you take it out of park, it won't recognize that it comes out of park sometimes. And then it just kind of sits there. And other times it will and it'll go. And then when you put it back in park, it pretty much never recognizes that it's back in park. So when you go to shut it off with the button here, it won't shut off all of its like electrical and stuff. So the only way to like kill all of that is to, so parking brake on, back in too high. But the only way to like kill it all completely is to open the hood and disconnect the battery, which is what I did. So now I've got to disconnect it, pull forward, and then tilt my deck up. All right, there it is. All dropped off and done. All right, we just got the keys dropped off for it back in the office, and we are done. The gentleman that owns this Jeep, he lives out in Christmas Valley, obviously. About a year ago or so, a delivery truck got stuck in a mud hole out there in Christmas Valley, and he referred the job to us. So they called us. Ethan and myself took the Zacklift out there, got the truck winched out of the mud hole that it was in, and then well, that thing's got some gnarly tires on it. And then we used a Yankum rope to pull the truck the rest of the way to the top of the hill. And David, the owner of this Jeep, he met us out at the road and let us in through all the roads to get to where that truck was stuck, or I would have probably went out some wrong way and got stuck myself. And then he also stayed there, used the headlights of his Jeep to help light everything up so we could see what we were doing. Made sure it all went good. So he helped us out back then, and it's really nice to be able to help him out now. So we got his Jeep here to the shop for some warranty work and figure out what all the electrical stuff going on with it is. And now my truck is going to the car wash to go wash all this dust and mud off of it. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.